Yes, ma'am, we are good to go.
One second. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, good. Thank you. Good morning, one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome two of the giant leaders with us who's going to talk about the knowledge and the inspiration and the trending messages, what's happening in the HR industry. Welcome to Empowering Heroines Preparing for Corporate Success. So we have two leaders, Shikha Gupta and Chella Pandian. And first, let me introduce Shikha Gupta. So she has over 2 decades of HR talent acquisition experience across the IT vertical. And Shika is also constantly supporting thousands of people transforming their career even today relentlessly online. She recently became entrepreneur to create even more meaningful impact with people transformation. Wishing you all the best, Shika, and welcome to the session. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for a rather generous introduction. It's an honor to be on your platform, Manjula. Thank you.
Thank you, Shikha. And next we have one another extraordinary leader with us, Chellapandian Pichai, a TEDx speaker, executive coach, and the global head of DEI at Biocon Biologics. With over 25 years of diverse HR experience, Chella is a champion of inclusivity, innovation, and leadership development. He is also continuously mentoring the professionals and youngsters to find their passionate career. Thank you for joining us today, Chella. It's our honor and pleasure to hold you here. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, and thanks for a very warm introduction. And one other thing which I do is I'm heading the women talent or women network for Biocon Biologics. So I'm very apt to be here as a men ally. Thank you for inviting.
Lovely, happy to hear about that. And of course, we did have your enjoyable and then exciting session as well in our Heroines Conclave. And pleasure to have you again. So, with both of your journeys, and I'm sure our audience are going to find the place. But then I just wanted to make sure the first one, which is going to be a kind of an icebreaker. Having two HR leaders in the session, typically, what is your one question when you just meet somebody in the bigger meeting? So probably I'll just start with Chella. Go ahead, Chella. What's your first question you get it from audience, knowing that you are heading the head of the organization and you're also a veteran in the industry? What is that one question comes to you?
It's a tough question because it varies from generations, right? So if I go meet a Gen Z who are in colleges, uh, predominantly the questions are about: do you have internship? Do you have job opportunities? And how can I apply? How When do I participate? When do you hire? Do you hire freshers? So those are some of the questions you get. When you go to Gen Y, who are already experienced to say 5 to 15 years of experience, then it's more about some of them about the product, some of them about the company. Have you heard about this? Congratulations on the award you won. And some of them even applying, right? Second, the job comes into picture. But when you go to probably the Gen X, they're more about appreciating what they hear in the market. Probably they're in the fag end of their career, and some of them, and so they're not really looking for an opportunity, but they're looking for the partnership or consulting and so on and so forth. But I'll tell you one interesting thing which has happened in the recent past, since I go and talk about DEI and especially gender beyond two gender, men and women. In the Gen Z crowd, especially in the colleges and universities, I see welcome change where some of the people are, the students are coming and asking about how do I identify myself from the gender, because I'm going through a little bit of confusion, and how do I come out, because I'm very sure I'm not the binary, I'm into the other genders. I don't know whom to talk to, and I'm in this confusion, I'm in the depression. So a lot of this mental wellness or the issues around the gender identification or gender confusion, right? Because that age, neither they're not very sure and they don't know whom to go. So these are some of the questions off late I get, especially from Gen Z.
Awesome. Great to hear about that, the welcoming change, what's happening in the industry. And then I'm really happy they're just able to come and approach you to openly talk about that. That's even more welcoming part of it. I would just say that. Thanks for just holding them and then giving that the hope for what is that best. They can just thrive for it. Okay, great. Shika, what is your question? What you just get in general when you just somebody meets you?
So Chela has very beautifully summarized across generations, but since I have been into campus hiring for almost 1.5 decade, the Gen Z crowd is actually looking for good mentorship, good support, good guidance. It's a very competitive market, Manjula, right? Gone are those days where you would give 2 interviews and you would get an offer, right? Today's generation is also very aspirational. They have their dream companies, they have their own passion to follow, they have their own ambition, right? And they sit for these multiple companies and they read the right guidance. And all this generation tells me, Shikha, there's so much material available on the internet. It all sounds like bookish knowledge. But who to approach when it comes to, cracking a campus interview, getting a good offer, and how do we identify the culture piece? Right? A lot of folks are HR rejects and they don't know why, right? So, what is culture? What does it take to be a good culture fit in an organization? What do we focus on? So, giving that guidance, I think, is very important to today's generation. They they focus on money. If I'm getting a better package, yes, let me choose that rather than growth, stability, and opportunity. So that is another confusion apart from the gender piece that this generation is going through. And most of the questions are around that. Is it, 10 lakhs versus mediocre organization, blah, 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 right? Or, or 10 lakhs versus, beautiful culture, beautiful organization versus 25 lakhs, which is, somewhat mediocrity. So how do you choose the right offer? How do you crack one and how do you choose one? I think all the campus folks, whether you go to an IIT who's an engineering grad or do you go to a B school, one of the IIMs, they have very much similar questions. How to navigate to crack a good offer and how to choose one, right? So I think that's where our generation, these are the leaders of tomorrow, right? That's where we need support. And the right HR person or the right mentor can be that guiding light or guiding force to make sure they choose the right career option. That's how we put it.
Okay, good to hear about that. And thanks for just sharing that one question, what you predominantly get about it. Now, I'm going to share what is that one question we get in our community, right? That's going to be the a different notion of what we heard from Chella and from Shika, right? I was just asking the team, give me the top question, which I just wanted to ask them today. Just do that. This is the first question I just got it. I wanted to get a job. I am coming from break. What should I do? None of the HR is not responding to me. This is the plain vanilla format where I'm just able to bring it. But that's where I thought you both of you being the veteran, just share about what is that your framework you would give it to our community member to start the conversation. So maybe probably I'll just go ahead with Chela. Chela, go ahead. You are mentoring everybody. You are also leading the women part of it. This is the top question from our end. Please let me know what is that. You can give us the insights for that.
No, it's a fair question from people. The reason this question still relevant and it is still prevalent is because there is a huge pool of people who have taken a career break and wanting to come back, but there are less opportunities for them. Hence, this question is still there. Otherwise, uh, they wouldn't have such questions frequently asking. Right? Maybe smaller group might feel that they have not made it, which can be possible, but largely 80% of them should be able to find. There is a cultural reason for this, right? Having worked in other countries and managed many people outside India, uh, the career break is a concept which our country is slowly picking up, right? Uh, I was part of one of the previous back to work kind of program, and I had about hundreds of women joined and I was invited to speak to them. So I asked a simple question, right? How many of you have taken a career break? That's a wrong question for that forum because everybody has taken a career break. And my question was leading to put your reasons in the chat box. Right? And then as I was going through, predominantly it goes around maternity for nurturing kids, taking care of elder parents or in-laws, or following husband, or for some health reason. And very few on the sabbatical for higher education and so on and so forth. Now, then I asked a question back in the chat box to say, how many of you taken a career break for just thinking time, pause time, right? And there's no stronger reason, but I just want a break. How many of you have taken a break because you're just bored, right? So I say, okay, let me take a break and think about it and reset my career. How many of you taken a break for your passion is to go around the world? You wanted to visit some places, so you took a break. Or someone, so how many of you have taken a break because you want to change, but you wanted to think about it and then make a right change? No one, right? So if you go to Vietnam, if you go to Hong Kong, if you go to even Malaysia, you go to Taiwan, just Asian countries I'm talking about. Let's not even get to the advanced markets, right? People take a break. You know, my team members, when I managed a lot of Asian country team at one point in time, also some of the Europeans. The team member comes and tells me that I wanted to take a break. I'm saying like I put all the efforts a typical manager, people manager would do to say, no, no, where do you have to leave? Tell me how can I help? Is it a compensation? Is it a role? Is it a promotion? She said, no, nothing that the company can give me on what I'm looking for. What is that? Now I want to take a break and go to Europe trip. And I've saved money for that and I'm going for a trip. I'll come back. Then I said, no, there will be a career break. So what? I'll come and figure it out. Right? So they're able to confidently do this. One example. There are many such examples. Even a person said, no, I'm just bored with doing similar corporate job for some time. I want to take a break. It's a pause time, thinking time break. I was so fascinated with that, but it's a pause time, right? I'm going to think and then decide what to do. If I'm interested to come back, I'll reach out to you. Look at the confidence level. That's only because not that we are not confident as Indians, just that we don't have enough opportunity to do that. So
Right.
I see it all as a cultural thing. I have a more insights for this, but I'll come back later after listening to Shika's inputs. But the uh, there is a cultural aspect of taking a break here. There is a taboo. If you take a break, coming back is difficult, and and you lose your weightage, continuity, and you lose your salary growth as well. Now, when you come back, you go back to where you left. And in India, still we look at salary as what is your last drawn salary. Now, we are not many companies are willing to pay for your skill and maturity and the knowledge you bring. It's always about what is the last drawn salary.
Absolutely true. Thanks for just sharing that. Absolutely resonating with you. The Indian system has to evolve a lot more. Yes, that there is a great progress because we are just holding the forte for more than 10 years to just see the transformation, but a lot more to grow. Thanks for just sharing. Shika, your thoughts. What should we do?
I have personally taken a career break. I was at a leadership position after working for about 17 and a half years. And then I said, I have to take this break because it was, like Chela very well pointed out, it was to take care of an elder person, right? My husband and I, being just two working partners in this house, I had to take care of my in-law, right? So one of us had to take that call, and I said, I will do it. So I left, and yes, my manager did put all that effort saying that don't do it. I said, no, somebody's bedridden. She's more important. Okay, fine. Initially, it was quite a shocker because 17 and a half years I worked nonstop. I've left jobs on Friday and I've joined the new place on Monday, right? So I said, okay, fine. She needs me. I'm there in the house, but how do I utilize this time? First 15 days, I was quite blanked out, saying that, oh God, it's such a stigma. Friends started calling up, colleagues started calling up. What are you doing sitting in the house? Do something and stuff like that. Like he very well pointed, it is a stigma in our Indian society, in our Indian culture. Then I said, Shikha, you have to do something beyond taking care of this parent. Then I started, see, one of the things that you could very well do is always gain knowledge through internet, upskill, right? I used to read a lot about HR trends, about my industry, what's happening, so that tomorrow when I get back, whenever, 1 year, 2 years down the line, I am not this outdated piece of HR person who doesn't know what's happening in the market. So reading about your domain, your industry, trends through various articles, YouTube, internet, HBR, Harvard Business Reviews are amazing. I think is a thing that one should do, right? Second thing, I hooked onto LinkedIn. I wasn't there till about 3 years back. I used to log in, do some candidate searches because I used to handle executive hiring and then just bump off. But then start connecting with people, start networking. And that's how I met you, Manjula, as well. Right?
Yes, yes, that's
Right people in the industry, and these right people can be very helpful at the right time when you actually need to get back to the industry or anything for that sort. So networking with the right people, participating in different forums, like you're at home, you can do an online meeting. You want to, as a listener, yes. As a speaker, if you want to volunteer, yes. Keep gaining knowledge, right? Keep talking, keep networking. So these are things that I did. And I had all these questions. Oh, it's 1 year, I haven't worked. Now, then I started my job search. The first piece is you have to update your profile, right? You haven't done anything in the last 1 year, but you have to showcase as to how you've utilized that time in a very effective manner. So I did that, looked at the new templates, formats of resumes, blah, 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 whatever, and then started my job search. Now, I am not getting a job. I am not getting a job. I am not getting a job. It's something you keep hearing every second woman saying it. Are you applying the right way? Are you looking for the right jobs? What is it, on job portals or through your network or through LinkedIn? Or are you just blindly looking at a job, clicking on the easy apply button and spamming your resume in multiple companies? Please study the role. Is it cut out for you? Are you able to do it? Your situation 1 year back was different. You could give, I don't know, 12, 14 hours to work. Now, in the current scenario, you may not be able to give 12, 14 hours to your work. You could do 9, 10. Are you cut out for the job? How demanding is it? Are you applying for the right role? Do the job sizing, do the role sizing, see how good a fit are you, and then you should apply. And that's what exactly what I did. I went through some search firms, looked for some roles, looked for some roles on LinkedIn which were suited to my profile, which I could deliver 100% with whatever the situation is at home. Gave some interviews, then, oh, should I take a pay cut? I will not take a pay cut. So all those questions come to your mind. You have to take that call, Manjula, whether you want to keep cribbing about taking a pay cut or you want to start somewhere.
true.
Start again, give it 6 months, give it 1 year, prove your mettle, show your performance, and take that jump.
Yeah.
And the market correction will happen. People who are not okay for pay cuts, in my opinion, are people who are not confident about themselves, are people who probably are not confident in delivering again. Or maybe there are some, expenses at home which do not allow them. Let's give that benefit of doubt. Join, give it 1 year, give it your all, and that market correction happens. So I went through all those issues. Should I not? What should I do? It's an emotional journey, right? Will I be able to even work? And it was a good 1 year after which I joined, and I again joined at a leadership position. It's a new challenge. You have a new CXO crowd sitting in front of you, what to say, what not to say. But getting back is so very important if you are a career oriented person. And how have you prepared yourself? You read, you upskill. If you want, you do some certifications. I advised that to one of my friends. She wanted to do some HR certifications. I said, please go ahead if it adds to your portfolio, right? Upskill yourself, make yourself ready for the job market, right? The job market is not what it was 1 year back when you quit. Things evolve every day, right? So prepare yourself and go for it. 2 interviews, and I had both the offers. I picked one, and that's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your own life journey for us to inspire. Thanks for that. That's a reality, right? So when in Indian context, when we just take a break, when we come back, these are all the challenges we are just going to get. Like Chella was saying, what is your last earned salary? That's where we are going to start our journey and look at that. Where do I draw a line about you? Right? So just go ahead and your point.
Just to add, Manjula, I think pre-COVID, we were very rigid about a lot of things, right? COVID in some way has taught us some real life lessons that family is important, children are important, empathy is important. You need to give people time off. You need to be considerate about others. If somebody is taken a break, it's okay, right? There's something else which is more important, suffering at home that the person could not concentrate. It's better to take a break, fix that, and join back rather than stepping in two boats and failing in both. So that way, COVID has been a blessing because a lot of leadership has been much more tolerant than it was before. Yeah,
Right.
just wanted to add that. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Even we were struggling before COVID to fulfill the bringing women back to work because we have to do our offline training and there is no space and we can only do for certain locations. But after COVID, everything has become online. No corporate is asking, no, you have to do this training here, this lab or nothing. Everything has become virtual. So, women, that is where we are proudly able to say, we become an accountable partner for you. You sit in your place. What's your dream career? We will help you on that. Whether it is a certification, whether it is a project, whether it is a coaching, whether it is an assessment, or finding your diversity partner. Everything sitting in a one place. So COVID is a blessing. I agree with you. Absolutely. Right. Yeah, that's right. So now that we know that we are changing the trend, we are just building our new India with more power onto that. I wanted to get back to now to asking both of you, how do you see the landscape on each of your vertical, both in pharma and IT? So probably let me just take a cue from Chella. Chella, just help us out. More GCCs are coming and more companies are expanding their portfolios here other than GCC as well. How do you see the evolving trend of pharma industry for the career perspective?
So your question is specific to back to work or generally you are asking?
In general, you just tell us, then you just give us the update of how much women you are anticipating in this industry to just come and participate in the workforce.
Okay. So pharma industry has two sides to it, right? One, when you have an integrated uh, business model like ours, which has manufacturing to research and development, and then it goes to the commercial space, right? So it's a end to end, everything happens, and in a global setup. So in organization like ours, which has manufacturing and also commercial, the challenge is again it's culturally, and I have different data for different countries. In India, you see there is a less attraction towards manufacturing roles from women workforce and less attraction towards commercial from women workforce. These two being culturally, there is reason. I figured it out why it happens, and as a company, we have tried to navigate those challenges, and we are very positive and we are able to make some strides towards progressing in those areas. I'll come to the number later. Otherwise, you see in science, like we're talking about women in STEM, and we have more than 50% women in science. Like most of our scientists are above 50% in terms of workforce balance. And there are in pockets, I have 70%, and in one function, we have 72% women, right? And it is not an enabling function like HR or any finance and all of this. I'm talking about real science-based areas where we have 72%. But there are areas where like manufacturing, you're still trying to go beyond two digits and then progress in these areas, right? So so that's a pharma industry, and the challenges in manufacturing is similar when I talk to my peers in automobile or you speak to people in hardcore manufacturing, including construction industry, and we do see that. But the same thing, if you go to IT services or go to IT manufacturing, probably you get a lot of women engineers joining, computer engineers joining, and picking up that because it's not on a conventional manufacturing kind of a role. Right? So there is something which we need to dive deep and understand why it happens, and so that's one part. Second, what's happening in the pharma? There is a lot of progress in this area of balanced workforce, and specific to our company, we have progressed a lot in the last 3 years with the conscious efforts, and ours is one of a good case study is being built, and there are other companies also doing it, but I have a good case study for what we've accomplished. So we are today above 30%, and we were about less than 20% 3 years back, and then we have gone above 30%. And
Wow.
we're able to do that with the conscious efforts, with a lot of strategy going into it to make sure it happens. And we have been successful in that area. Lastly, talking about uh, back to work. So we do have good number of women colleagues who have taken a career break and rejoined. We have an ERG called Back to Work program, and where this particular employee resource group is focused towards attracting colleagues who are taking a career break. But we are not able to have a big number in this only because we are still struggling to get science based candidates who are taking a career break wanting to come back. Because 80% of our needs are coming from the science as a core strength or skill which we look forward to. Right? And so whenever and wherever we see any science-based women who have taken a career break, we embrace them with open arms to come and give them, to provide them an opportunity to explore. And if the skill matches, if there is a cultural fit, and if there is everything goes well, we have never declined or denied that category of colleagues who have taken a career break. Because for us, career break means it means nothing. Like it's just that you had a need and you're taking a break. Probably that also gives you certain level of skill maturity. Even being in at home and nurturing a kid is a different skill, right? Which corporate cannot teach you, and
Yes.
only and even men cannot teach you. The only women has the privilege of learning that particular skill. So that is where we are, and then it's not about attracting. We do have something called acceleration program for those who taken a career break. So what we do is here not only career break, even women who have taken a longer break because of maternity, right? Some of colleagues take 1 year extended maternities, and of course as a country we have 6 months. So when they come back, we put them into this 4 week module over a period of 2 months, and put them into an acceleration for getting back to the basics, understanding what changes happened in the last 6 months to 1 year, and then what is that they missed so that they don't feel deprived of information, and then some skill refreshing kind of thing so that they understand the new tool, etc., etc. So that helps. This is there for both those who are coming from external world to Biocon or internal world who have taken a longer break. So let me stop there and then come back again with more insights.
Perfect. Thanks, Chilla, for sharing that. Yeah, absolutely. You're resonating all the three side of it. One on the manufacturing side, one on the commercial side, and IT services side. Yes, as you rightly said, IT services always in an attractive mode because of the work-life balance or the work, whatever. That is a trend. We do see that. Lot of placements we are able to make it on the pharma IT services side of it. Thank you so much. And Shika, please go ahead. What is your take on it?
Sure. So, in the IT sector, I think the women workforce till about few months back, right, accounted to about 28, 29, 30% IT services, right? KPO, BPO is slightly higher. It's 30, 32%, 33%. It keeps varying. But, I think where we need a lot of work is only, I mean, out of the entire workforce, right? Only 7 or 8% of the women make it to the leadership positions, right? A lot of people take career breaks or drop their jobs because of family, kids, blah, 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 a lot of other reasons. So I think that is where more work is required. You will see the women workforce easily climbing up to the manager level. After that, I think it's family and home that takes more priority and stuff like that. And that's why data says that only 8% make it to the top leadership positions, right? Even in IT services, all wherever I have worked in all my organizations, we had these homecoming programs, right? Where we would welcome women and anybody who's taken a break or who's gone on a maternity break or any other break, right? We would welcome them back, right? Depending on now, like I said, in my situation, the situation was different now. If there is a mother who's coming back, she now has a 1 year baby to manage. So do we do a different role sizing for her because she may not be able to dedicate those many number of hours? So in my organizations as well, we've done that exercise based on the requirement, right? Do a matchmaking, right? Here is a mother coming back, or here is a relocation case who wants to come back to his hometown location. Which role do we offer, and how do we make sure that the person is 100% successful, lives truly on the KPIs, KRAs set for that role?
True, true.
And the best part, is because I am also from the recruitment side of it, is that such people have zero notice period, right? So the person is already on a break. You do one round of interview, maybe if you want to, or you do that matchmaking, which role you want to offer, and the person joins in flat 3 to 4 working days, right? You don't have a 30, 60, 90 days notice period to wait. So for me, people on break, right, could be relocation cases, maternity cases, whatever, are my favorite because they fill the open position very soon. Plus, since they are already ex-employees, they actually know the culture, they know everything, they know the entire ecosystem. So the time to settle down again in a similar profile or a similar same organization is absolutely nil, right? They hit the ground running very fast. So every organization, right, even in the IT services space, welcomes people coming back.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a change we are seeing. In fact, early days, I used to get a rec on a 2 digit. Nowadays, anything goes in a 3 digit. So that's the welcoming change for us, also for our community, to make sure we are able to help more women to come back to work. I resonate completely with you on that. I think there is a question coming to Chella. I'm just going to read about it. People are also asking the question, knowing that he is also helping across the generation. Wanted to understand what is the mindset change you have noticed across generation with women in the workforce? The idea of the career break. Somehow you resonated some of the answers while you are talking about your thoughts, Chella. But then there's another question which is also you can just take it up and help us out. It's different. Is it different across different generations, Gen Z and late Gen Ys are more open to take a bold career break? What is that? They are just thinking about it. Share your perspective.
Sure. See, I do see the difference. Probably it's also because of the opportunities, the technology enabling, and the digital disruptions. There is more boldness have come into the current generation, and it's going to be even more better and faster in the Gen Alpha. Right, the Gen Alpha is all 10 years and below. I call it as 10 years to -5. The -5 are the kids who are going to be born after 5 years. They're in the formation in the universe, right? What's happening is there is a reason for why the Gen X, my generation, or the late Gen Ys did not have the boldness as what today's generation have. Is opportunities were always through referrals, and you need to know the person, you need to have recommendation, and it has to be through certain channels only, right? Or go to Naukris and then try and sending your application and finding a job was a big challenge. Today, LinkedIn, uh, one big opportunity, and then there's so many other new apps, new age apps have come, right? Connecting with people those days, it has to be in conferences. If I have to meet Manjula, then I have to be in your conference. Then I build a connection, then exchange visiting cards. We used to have an album where put the visiting card and store it. One of the like more than money, visiting cards were stored because that's the only way you can connect it back. Go to the landline call and then call you and then find an opportunity to connect with you, then have those conversations. But today it's all on the spot. You go QR code, show your QR code, somebody takes your WhatsApp number, then you can straight away. Today's generation, I see straight away. First thing is, hey, we met in this conference. Do you have any opening? Here is my CV. Right? uh, it's so much open. It is not about you need to build connection. It is like, okay, if you don't have, fine, I'll go to somebody else. That kind of an attitude comes, which is okay to have. And that's the change I see in the younger generation because the opportunities are there and they know how to reach out to the opportunities through multiple channels. Hence, little bit of boldness have come, right? Whether leaving an organization or rejoining an organization or finding, or even to take a break. It's okay. I leave. I'm a lot of candidates off late. I see, hey, I'm ready to join immediately. What does it mean? Yeah, I'm out already, right? So I'm available, and then or I don't have to give a notice period. Basically, what they're saying is they're either fired or they're out of the job, or I'm at home. But very nicely they say, no, I'm immediately available. I can join next week. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. So I think that mindset has come. And earlier, if you're fired from company, the word fire, even in India today, it's a big deal, right? You're fired means you get into depression, people have committed suicide. This is a very common language in other countries, right? What happened? You come for an interview and somebody you ask, so what was the reason you left the previous organization? I got fired because they went through this restructure. Very common, right? You get fired, rehired, and find a job, or they say as long as it is not an ethical reason or compliance reason, firing is not to be worried about. If you're fired for any non-compliant, then of course you need to be worried about your credential in the market, right? So I see today's generation not worried about being fired because they know they can make it. But this is global scenario. In India, it's increasing, but long way to go. Maybe Gen Alpha would come into a stage where they don't really worry about being fired, and mindset is like, you pay for my skills, and I don't have to be those obedient, hand folded, not leg crossed. Boss comes, you stand up, and you don't go out of the office if your manager is not left. Those days I've seen Gen X days. Your boss cabin lights are on, you won't leave the office, right? And once it happened, some of them were waiting, waiting, waiting. It became 10 o'clock, and after that, they realized that boss left the light on and he left at 5 o'clock, right? So those fear factors have reduced a lot, right?
Love
So, yeah.
hear about that. And yes, I do agree there is a change because we are all holding kids at home and we are also seeing that changes are happening in front of us as well. I completely resonate with you. Thanks for sharing. And coming back to Shika, you keep transforming people, just helping their resume and giving their ideas of what to do, how to just find the job. So now that I just got you, I don't want to leave you without taking that input for our community. Tell us about how do we keep that resume insane and ready for every HR should be able to look into that. What is that I should do for that?
Just before I answer that, I wanted to add to something to what Chela said. Very interesting. See, it's also a huge mindset thing. Look at our parents, right? They want us to get into a good job, be there for 2 to 3 years, so show some stability, loyalty, get some promotions, earn appraisals, be there, and want us to save for the future. Tomorrow, if you get married, you want to raise your own children, and blah 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 blah. But today's generation is the cool kids, right? Work, no work, freelance, consult, go on a road trip, come back, join a startup, join a captive. There's nothing like, they're looking at, stability, growth. They want to be a part of one organization for 3 years. And that's why as HR, when I see resumes, you see those job changes so frequently. Every 1 year or 1.5 years, people are switching companies, right? And as a recruiter, why would I want to hire such a person who's maybe, I wouldn't say fickle minded, but who's not stable, who leaves every 1 year for a better salary, for a better role? And they have these reasons where they quote, okay, this had happened, that had happened, I had to leave, I couldn't continue, my manager was bad. Everything becomes bad because you want a new job. So it's also that generation was different, where you want your kids to be stable and you want them to save for future. Today's generation, I don't know if they even save for future. They earn the money, they probably they blow 70%, 80% of it, maybe 20% is in reserve. Who they have to take care of, they don't think long term. It's short term. Switch jobs, travel. Like he said, opportunities are plenty. If this doesn't work, kya hai? Something else will work, right? So that fear is not there. You get fired, you join somewhere. You get hired, it just doesn't matter. So I think mindset is a big player here. Now coming back to your question, I mean, the worst thing that somebody could do, and I've told this to every single candidate, whoever I have met, is to leave spelling mistakes in the resume, right? It's such a put off, right from your content to your formatting to how you want to present the information, what chronological order you want to use. Everything should be looked at in a profile properly, right? The length of the document also matters. There are people who send 3 pages as resume. Who reads after the first page? So, and whenever, okay, let's me start from the start. Whenever you're applying for a job, look at the job role and see if your resume fits. If your resume fits, how do you need to present it, right? Your education, your extracurricular, your job changes, your project work, everything needs to be outlined to an optimum detail. Don't write paragraphs and paragraphs. Nobody reads that. Power messaging. That's what I tell people. When you talk, it should be power messaging. When you write, it should be power messaging. You convey a lot of information in very few words, right? How you organize that entire information, right? Then look at the formatting, look at the spell check and all of that stuff. It's very, very important. Mentioning your social media, your professional networking platform, that's another thing that should be there along with your contact details and stuff like that. A perfect resume is a good blend of good formatting, good English, plus good content, right? And if you've taken career breaks, please do not shy away to show those breaks. There is a reason why you took that break. Say it openly. Don't lie on your resume. Don't cheat the company. Don't cheat the recruiter. That's the worst thing you could do, because if you happen to get an offer, Manjula, you are starting a new relationship with a lie. Someday or the other you will get caught. Even if you don't get caught, it's your conscience which plays a much bigger role in your life. In every organization, no matter how big or small, based on their capacity, does background verification. So lying, right, putting nonsense up there is just not happening. Some third party will figure out and you will get rejected. You will get banned or blacklisted from that company, right? Be true to yourself and to what the information you're presenting to that company, right? So all these things matter a lot. It's not that every recruiter goes to hundreds of resumes, so they will not pay attention to what you've written. Everybody reads the first page, and if it meets the job requirement, you are in. You will receive that first call, first interview call saying that, hey, let's have a talk. Your profile is interesting. How do you present it in an interesting manner? It's up to you. Freedom of words, freedom of speech on the paper is your call, right? So all these factors play a big role. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper which you're sending in somebody's inbox, which will easily get ignored. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some people use clip art, some people use images, which is good, but they have to keep the file size in mind, right? They cannot exceed a certain uh, uh, file size, which then the resume becomes a blocker. It lands up in junk or it lands up in spam folder, right? Appealing and attractive is good, but content is what matters. That's how I would put it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So probably let's just get into Chella to just understand more about it. He is also leading the women leadership in the Biocon to just handle it. Chella, we would like to understand from you, how do you just help women career to grow in your organization, in the mid-level to senior level? What kind of a support? And more than your organization, you also share the resources available for every woman to aspire on the career, whether women are going to a CXO level or the manager level. What kind of resources and the networks you would like to share with us?
Great. So, Manjula, there are two parts to this. One from Biocon perspective, and second, some of the work I do personally, passionately, because I've been in the women development for the last 14 years. Some of the work which I take pride is one starting women network in Poland, Moscow, Switzerland, Hungary, and in fact, Middle East. A lot of people said Saudi is very difficult, and we did. It's all for a company's sake. The previous company I worked for. Then, of course, in Asia Pacific, you name it, most of the countries, we started Women Network. I also helped Malaysia. The women entrepreneurs started something like in India, we have India Women Network, and so Malaysia Women Network, it's called MWN. And I was part of advising them and to come up with something which is really doing well today in Malaysia. So, having said that, what we do in Biocon, I'll stick to what we do in Biocon. The reaching that 30 plus percentage is a good feel, but what will make our leaders, including our chairperson Kiran and below several leaders and including me, is to see a balanced workforce at a higher level as well, right? If you look at the pyramid, it's not about meeting the number. Then it is operation successful, patient dead. It means that you have a number to um, boast around, but that's not what really make a difference to the organization. If there is a strong belief and a lot of research data have proven that having a balanced workforce increases productivity, profit, and performance. And if that's a three piece, and if that's the business case for every organization, then you need to bring balanced workforce across your pyramid. So what we do is we run women leadership development program at multiple layers, so that the middle layer comes to the senior layers goes to the higher layer. So there is a focused women leadership development program. Now, a conflicting thought here is leadership doesn't know gender, right? It's why are we genderizing leadership? We should generalize leadership, right? So, but at the same time, I feel it's important to do that until we reach the balanced stage in the country or in the society. Until then, it's okay to genderize the leadership. The day you get close to a balance, then you should stop talking about women leader and men leader. Leader is a leader. It doesn't matter what gender they belong to. By calling it as a women leader and men leader, you're ignoring the other genders, right? You're becoming not inclusive enough. Inclusive leadership is about not genderizing any of these factors. But we have not reached there. So it's okay to be in that space, right? So we're still talking about women and men, and then when are we going to go into the other genders? And when are we going to talk about PWDs and people cognitive disabilities, or talking about several other neurodivergent? A lot more to do in the inclusive space. So one is women leadership. Second, again, a culture, right? We dive deep into why organically we are not becoming equal. Why are we putting so much efforts like HERoines, or all of us are coming together to create an ecosystem for an equal or a balanced workforce? Because it's organically not growing, right? Why not organically growing? It could be two reasons. One is a mindset of the other gender, which is the male, which is the dominant number, right? And not in character, right? I'm not talking about the behavior and character of two genders. I'm talking about the dominant in terms of number in the past. So organically, why it has not grown is probably there is an unconscious bias that men have not realized. I'm talking about these three, right? Not realized the value which women can bring into the table. Reason is they've never been managed by a woman manager. When you have not been reporting to a women leader, and when you have not learned from a women leader, at the most you managed women colleagues under you, so you will always have a perception or a bias. It is unconscious or it is unintentional, because you have not created an environment for them to work with women. except those men allies who keep popping up because they have worked with women. Like I had 50% of my leaders of women, right? It so happened. So when I had 50% of my managers were women, so automatically I started seeing them as a person to learn from, not a person with that perception of what you see at home or what you see in society, because you're reporting to them, right? Your bosses were women. It's a different field, right? When you're in a, I must go vulnerable and admit I did have that stereotype of, you know, not being ready for accepting women bosses until it happened. Then you realize, wow, I didn't know, right? So that is what is we have to create. So if HERoines and every other organization is working towards it, can we create that environment where women manages or mentors men? Now, women managing men, this is a process which might take one more decade. Like today, whoever is the workforce, everywhere it is increasing, right? 30, 40, 50, we are reaching. All of these women, if they're at the bottom of the layer, slowly and slowly they come up. Of course, we have people like Shika, you, all of you are at the top. But it's not everyone. We're not having the 50-50 at the top. So over a period of time, this will reach there. Until then, are we going to wait or can we do something innovative? So what we have done with this background, we have created all ERG leaders as women only, strictly these positions for women, so that they practice leadership in a role which is not their vertical role, because that might take some time. But here is an opportunity. They come out of the vertical, suddenly they manage something for organization. So they learn new leadership. Second, women mentoring women and women mentoring men. Invariably, many organizations, the minute you want to put a woman for a mentoring, find a men leader because most of your leaders are men. But we said no, we will make women mentor men. So what happens is the man starts realizing when you're being mentored, it is not a boss relationship, but it is a mentor. Then you realize, wow, okay, so I get so much of ideas, directions, thoughts. So then you change your perception. Then you start accepting women bosses. Then you might probably promote a lot of women into leadership. And that is when you will see a change. So it's an organic change happening over a decade, and then inorganic, which is innovative changes you bring in organization and society, then you will see we are reaching there faster than what otherwise would take.
Awesome. Absolutely happy to hear the both the two concepts what you have just implemented in Biocon to just look into that, how you are just mentoring men by women leader as well as the ERG leaders are by women consciously have been taken that. Nice, happy to hear that, and thanks for sharing that insights too. Lovely to hear that. Great. So, Shika, just finally, we just wanted to just come back to you and then figure it out. How do we help this movement to go? One of that idea, what we heard from Chella is what is he doing in the organization and other part of it. You tell us the best practices. How do we make this movement to go faster so that we don't need to wait for longer years to make that women and men, and we should come back to that same status of leadership is a leadership. When are we going to achieve that? There is no men and women leadership. What should we do for that?
I think one of the things that we should look at is all the women who have handled leadership positions are so inspiring, right? You talk about Indra Nooyi, you talk about anybody, right? They have managed homes, they have managed organizations, and performance, productivity, everything has fallen in place, right? So if she can do it, why can I not do it, right? Second thing, I think what women need to realize is that a career is a career. Why is a man's career more important than a woman's career? Right? Somewhere it's a mindset issue, if you ask me. I have so many people, I mean, so many women in my network. I'm also part of a women NGO where I support these people with various things, especially career guidance. Why do you have to always compromise whenever there is a need at home? Why can it not be him? Yes, he's the earning hand of the family. So are you, right? Probably he earns slightly more than you, but even you are also an earning hand, right? Your career is as important as him. A lot of women have to realize that both man and women need to take turns, right? If it is time off or it is a sabbatical or whatsoever. I know it is not easy it's very easy to say, but very difficult to practice. But unless a woman puts her foot down to say, this time, these 15 days, you support the house and I will support my job. Period. Right? Because I cannot take these 15 days off. I have client deliverables. I am answerable to my global clients. I am answerable to my bosses. So this time you manage it rather than, and whenever women take leaves very frequently or take breaks very frequently, yes, it does bother the bosses at times, right? Because work suffers. So this time, can it not be you? Can you not manage it for 15 days? And I will manage my job. So the partner has to be equally understanding that, even she has a career to focus on, right? She's as competent, as hardworking as me, and I need to respect that. Man needs to understand that, and the woman needs to understand that she needs to prioritize her career. Like I did for very many years, but then when the push comes to the shove, you somewhere have to take a call. So I said, okay, now I will. 17, 18 years is a long time working nonstop. Let me also breathe for a change, right? But and organizations, IT, non-IT, whichever sector it is, it's beautiful. They have all these home returning programs. They support women. There are different, uh, what do I say, personal development programs or WDP, women development programs that a lot of organizations are running, right? Each of the women in these different organizations should actively participate, take the best practices, and implement those at work, right? Plus, how do you make it faster? How do you make it better? The mindset has to change. It's gradually changing. 10 years back, we were not even there, right? It was always the woman who has to compromise. Today, we see that shift slightly, but the mindset change is primary, and the male partner, which is the dominant gender at home in every household, needs to understand that she is also a career oriented woman, right? Why does she have to see? Another thing, I was addressing another conference where I beautifully said, why do you have to be the superwoman? Teach kids their responsibility, teach your in-laws their responsibility, teach your husband his responsibility. Why do you have to do, do load sharing. Everybody does their bit. Why do you have to do everybody's bit and become this superwoman? You're not Durga with 9 hands, right? So try it one day, try it 2 days, divide that load. Each one of them does their bit of work, homework, classwork, whatever, right? Then you have to do your bit and your office. You don't have to be the superwoman running around the house, trying, okay, doing a meeting, okay, I will be back, setting things in house, coming back to the laptop. You don't need to do all that. Divide responsibility, divide accountability, divide ownership. Everybody looks after their piece of work at home, at office, at school, at college, wherever. Then you're just monitoring. You're not running around like a headless chicken. Then you don't have to take this career break. If your people at home are equipped enough to understand, just because they see you, you're working from home, just because you're around, okay, give me this, give me that, do this, do that. It doesn't work that way. Even if you're at home, you are working, right? You are locked in your home office. Why do you have to step out and step away and do things for the house, right? Everybody needs to do their bit of work. Like we say, if you want to keep the society clean, I have to start with my house and then I move outside to my compound area, my garden wall. If all of us do our bit, we will be a garbage free country, but we don't do our bit, right? We leave it to somebody else to do it. So we should stop being superwoman. We are a woman. And if we have a career, we have to focus on our career. And everybody in the household needs to understand that.
Well said, well said. Thank you so much. It was really good to just hear that inspiring thoughts coming our way. If you're a women, no superwomen, we'll just do what we wanted to do. Make sure everybody does that. Thank you so much. So we are just coming to the end of the session. I just wanted to understand before we just parting away, just to figure it out, what's your inspiring message or the resources for the community members? If you have, I would like to hear from both of you. Chalo, just go ahead. Do you have any networking or resources, something for our women where they can just go and look into that, or your message? Please go ahead.
Yeah, couple of things. One, I also try to answer that question about translating the skills acquired. It's all about personal branding, right? So So I would suggest the best tool is you yourself, right? Don't look outside. Find your next best version. Use this opportunity to go and see what best you can do for yourself. And every gap is an opportunity to rediscover yourself, right? Every problem is an opportunity for you to see how you can find that inner strength, right? You become stronger when you go through a tough time in your life, and that's when you evolve, right? The evolution is not organic. It is when there is a dip is when you rise and bounce strongly. I think that is one thing to keep. So it's about mindset. Second, the confidence goes down. That is a human tendency, right? So when you're not working, you get bored, you get depressed, and there is a dip. I think if you are able to alter your mind and start using that as an opportunity to bounce back, and even you find your inner strength, and then you will get more uh, avenues and ideas to position yourself strong. There's something called self positioning, right? For which your CV, how say I've given this idea some time back, and some of them are using it. I think about 3 4 years back, when I came back to India, I met one of the women network. Then this question came, and then I said, why don't you put your break in your CV, not as a break, but as a skill, right? So how do you put that as a skill? If I was a mother, new mother, first time mother, I would to take a career break for reason as nurturing kid. I'll come back after 1 year, and my CV will carry the skills during this time, right? One, the role as a first time mother, right? That's the job description of first time mother. Everybody knows. I don't know to explain. The skill I learned to be in an insecure space and managing myself, right? To focus. What else is a bigger focus than keeping eye on your daughter or son 24 bar 7, right? No mother have taken a break from that keeping an eye, whether in a mall, whether in a play area, whether you're at the time of feeding. You can't leave the kid in the hall and go to kitchen and come back when your kid is less than 1 year. It's something the kid will take and put it in the mouth, right? Of course, both parents have responsibility, but women goes through a lot. And then the skill of nurturing somebody who doesn't understand, right? Kids don't understand, so you need to learn patience, right? A lot of skills comes, and how many of the women colleagues are ready to put that and go and present in an interview saying, hey, listen, these skills corporate cannot teach you. This is a life skill, right? I have these skills and I'm coming back with these skills. So I've told this. So some of them started using it. I think I would say mindset, confidence, just go for it. And it's an ecosystem. We all have to together change. It's not just not the hiring people or the corporates. Even an individual have to come and present themselves so well that companies, the hiring managers start thinking, hey, not a bad idea. I think people taking career break, I should break my stereotype. I should come out of my bias. I think I should go ahead and hire because you have some good used cases or great examples for people to feel that way. So together we have to change the mindset.
Absolutely well said, and it was a great resource you have shared of projecting your career break with the skills as well. Thanks, Chella, for just doing it.
The tool is LinkedIn, and I would suggest they should be a lot more into LinkedIn during the break than when they're working.
Perfect.
Oh, what a tremendous tool! I came with 8,000, and in the 2 years, it's 24,000 followers. People just identify you with your thought leadership, your ideas, your comments. I think it's a great tool, less utilized by many people.
Great. Thanks, Sheila. Shika, finally, your inspiring words or resources for our community. Please go ahead.
I will talk about the resource first, Sanchela. That's what exactly I did when I was on a break. I hooked onto LinkedIn. It's been 3 years. What an amazing tool. Write, express, share your thoughts, share your experiences, share your journey, do storytelling. People start resonating, people start following. I mean, 3 years and I've crossed 1 lakh because I've been consistent on that platform. Write about your domain, write about your niche, write about anything and how with whatever how much ever sincerity you're writing, it will touch somebody, right? People then start following you, they DM you, you start building network. So LinkedIn is a great tool, and I have personally been there since 2020, and I love it and I continue to use it. That's one. Inspiration, just one line which I tell every woman: you are beautiful and beautiful is you. Don't compare yourself with anyone. Comparison is something which kills women. Oh, look at X, Y, Z. We were from the same batch. Look where she is today and where am I now? You have to be the best version of yourself, right? Everybody on this planet, 7.8, whatever the population of this world is unique. There are no two Shikhas, no two Manjulas, right? Everybody is unique. So you have to be the best version of yourself, right? Your confidence. I mean, another thing that, we manage so much of household expenses, right? Finance. It's a life skill that we learn at home. Women say, I'm not good at numbers. I said, how do you manage the entire kharcha pani of the entire month? All these bills, all these expenses, you know how to pay, when to pay, who to pay, and then you calculate everything and then you record everything. That's finance, that's maths, that's accounts, right? So you already know it. So why can't you apply for a job which requires a number aptitude, right? Things that you learn at home, you can always put it to practice. But then, yes, you are a woman and you are beautiful. That's it. Your version of beautiful. Keep doing whatever you have to do. Follow your dreams, follow your passion. It's just one life. You got to live it right. That's
Love.
it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for inspiring us with all your thoughts and energy and wisdom. And we are privileged to have both of you today with us. Thank you so much, and looking forward to have you in-person session soon just to inspire more women in our community. Thank you, Chella. Thank you, Jessica. Have a very, very, very great day. Thank
My
you.
pleasure, Manjula. Appreciate all your efforts and bringing us together. And thank you, Shika, for your thoughts. It's been wonderful to hear you.
Likewise, Shella. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I'm taking away with me, and I will keep connected and we shall keep talking.
Sure.
Manjula, thank you for bringing me to HERoines and introducing me to Chella as well. Love the conversation. Stay blessed and keep doing the awesome work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. And when people are around us, we are rocking together. Thank you so much for loving us. Take care. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.